Hi, I'm Cassandra Parton, CEO of Next Tech Learning. Welcome to Next Tech's Industry Insights, where we talk all things relevant to training and development in today's rapidly changing work environment. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Nola Turner-Jenson, a Wiradjuri woman from Western New South Wales, storyteller, ancient language restoration researcher, and Aboriginal behavioural expert. Nola is a multiple published author who specialises in creating content, programs, and training using Aboriginal learning styles. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nola. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh no, absolute pleasure to be asked. Always keen to have conversations.
Definitely. It sparks ideas and thinking. So we're very excited to have you with us. You have a background as a cultural inclusion specialist, and the definition of inclusion is often confused by individuals. So how would you define inclusion?
Inclusion is where everybody's needs, regardless of what cultural group they're attached to or belong to, is included in wherever they work, wherever they're wherever they are. So it's just about not feeling like you have to do something extra, but actually ensuring that what you're doing includes the needs of everybody you're talking to.
That's a really good point. I mean, I think inclusion and diversity in the workplace, I think it's often overlooked by employers, right? Because business operation is busy, right? It's everyone has got a lot of managing on their plate. So what are some questions that we can ask employees or individuals, or what can we ask of our managers to have a more open discussion around inclusion?
Yeah, I think it's become quite common knowledge that there are two societies that operate in the world, and that's collective and individual societies, and a lot of research has been done on that. And the reality is that some groups, some cultural groups and countries come from that collective thinking, and others come from the more individual thinking. Now, so for me, I think it's awareness and acceptance that people from another culture do the same thing as you differently. Right. But it is, and I think that quite often I've found in the research we do in understanding behaviour, that it's quite incredible that people are unaware that somebody from another culture may behave differently. So I think it's really, we need to upskill ourselves to have this awareness of both the collective and the individual behaviours and ways of thinking. And if we do that, then we've got to ask ourselves, you know, does our workplace, is it safe? Is it accepting of both those societies, both those groups? Because people from another culture quite often learn differently to how you do, or they might trust differently, or they might present information differently. And so when you have a one-size-fits-all workplace, does that really include their ways as well?
No, for sure. I think, you know, that's really important. And also kind of the diversity piece, right? I think businesses may not fully understand or appreciate the importance of diversity and how that really builds culture, and how and obviously people learn in different ways, and people interpret different ideas and thinking differently, right? That's what makes us individuals. But how can we stress the importance of diversity to employers or business owners in their hiring process, or when they're looking at their team? How can we kind of change that thinking to really bring diversity and inclusion to the forefront of their culture?
I think one of the things that we work with a lot of corporate groups to do is to align their purpose with you know, what they're actually doing. So when you have purpose alignment, so a lot of people have values and goals that they say on their different promotional material, their websites, and talk about in their staff meetings. But is it actually aligned with diversity inclusion? Is it? So a lot of people don't test that. So I think we've got to get to become more common to, and are your staff actually confident that you are meeting those standards and values that you promote so loudly and clearly? So these are the sort of things that we've got to start asking. And there are measurement tools. Something we do is, and we called it PAM, which is a very 70s name, but it's purpose alignment measurement. And it's very important, I think, these days that you don't just say we are inclusive of diverse groups being employed in our company. Well, who's measuring that? You know, I know you can do numbers and that sort of thing, but are they meeting the needs of that diverse group? Are they meeting the needs of people that need to trust differently or verbally problem solve, or come from an oral culture where relationships are so important? So all these things are, it's time. It really is time to put that line in the sand and say, it's great to have these wonderful values, but are you actually checking that you're meeting them?
No, definitely. And how are you checking? How often are you checking? I think it's not just to check once a year or, you know, once every 3 years. It's a continual process.
Also about who is checking. If it's an internal thing, possibly not getting such a great, you may be getting
might be biased. Exactly.
Yeah.